23rd, 2021 meeting to order. We're going to add the River Riders Motorcycle Club to the agenda. Okay. So first we gotta approve the minutes of August 9th. We have a chance to review those.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Discussion? Colin?
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Yes. Next, minutes, special meeting minutes from August 16th.
We approve the minutes from
August 16th.
16th, yep.
I'll second that.
Oh, there.
Okay. Discussion? Colin?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we have fireworks permit. We have 2 fireworks permits. First one is from Buddy Lazier. Apparently, on September 4th, he would like to shoot off fireworks from the Lazier shop on Northgate Road. Doesn't say time. Do you have any idea what the time would be on that?
I'm sure it'd be noon.
What do you think? You know what? I mean, there's a difference between 10 and there's a difference between midnight.
It's
Yeah.
dark by 9
I know.
now, so I'm gonna say probably right around there.
So, has anybody, it'd be nice if he was here because, you know, did they contacted the, fire chief on this or anything?
No, because you can't do anything without the city approval anyway. So I told him to go through the city first.
Well, basically, you know, the Century Code says, this chapter does not prohibit supervised public displays of fireworks by cities, fair associations, amusement parks, and other organizations. You know, and then it goes on to say, you know, city, okay, including the rules and regulations, state fire marshal here provided for, you know, and it says about, you know, safety and all that stuff, so, I don't know, have the neighbors been contacted? You know, thing is, if the neighbors say no, you know, do they even know about it? That's the question.
My only complaint I heard this year from somebody was it gets a little bit late. These fireworks are getting louder all the time and shakes the windows, so, you know, there are people that are a little bit worried about it, so that's the feedback that I've heard this year. So,
Yeah.
just so everybody knows. It'd be nice for the neighbors to, you know about it and be all right with it.
Still dry out there yet?
Not bad. Not as bad as it was.
Supposed to rain.
I know, but
Our ordinance says, you know, basically over the 4th of July and then, like on New Year's, around that time, right? 4th of July, New Year's. But, you know, we can, you know, make special provisions because we had, you know, I think did that for what?
River Road Days.
You know, we can definitely do that.
what's the occasion for the fireworks?
Wasn't able to do it 4th of July, so if the fire index came down and I got rain, then he wanted to do it over the Labor Day weekend.
So is this an actual display or is it just shoot fireworks, right? Basically what it is, I'm sure.
Well,
Which I'm sure the other one is too, I don't know.
I mean,
Right.
when you get his fireworks, it's like a display. But I mean, yes, it would just be so that they're able to light their fireworks off, being they weren't able to over the 4th of July.
My concern is with neighbors.
Hmm?
My big concern is with neighbors.
I'd like him to see or ask the neighbors or see if, you know, and then go with the fire marshal and see if he's okay with it. So if those
Fire
two things.
chief, you mean?
Fire chief, yeah.
Right.
Fire chief. So those are the two things I worry about.
I guess I'm not, with little information, I'm not in favor of it. That's just my opinion.
Did you talk to him, Chelsea?
Yeah, I've talked to him. But no, I mean, we're not gonna, I can already, it's not gonna, if you want us to prove our neighbors, it's not gonna happen, so.
Oh, the neighbors are gonna say no?
One,
Oh, well, yeah, that's a problem.
I know, I was just teasing you.
You know, if you want to discuss the other one at the same time here, it's from River Riders. They want to do it on September 11th on Main Street. And I'm sure they haven't talked to anybody around there either.
I guess I don't know that talking to neighbors, I mean, is it any different than 4th of July? We don't go around and talk to the townspeople.
Well, 4th of July, it's legal to do it then.
Well, but
I'm
same
just
difference.
saying, yeah.
Fireworks, fireworks, you know.
Yeah.
Get River Riders do it on the 11th. You know, we're gonna ask townspeople there, different people, neighboring
Well-
Main Street, you know, same difference.
Well, honestly, I'm not in favor of that one either, so, just,
So, I guess,
you know, if there was a, you know, a celebration going on, like I can see Riverboat Days, you know, it's a celebration, something like that.
I guess I'm just saying, you know, if it's fair for one, it should be, you know, follow suit with the other, not
Well, right, that, you
single
know,
one out versus the
well,
other.
that's why I said I'm against both of them, so, but yeah.
But I also like the idea of the people waited when we asked them not to shoot them off and have a special occasion because they did hold off. I don't want to punish the people either, because you know, they did, you know, wait for us, so I want to weigh that in here too.
Well, yeah, we've got to weigh everything, absolutely.
Yeah.
Should we just table it for the time being?
Then we don't have
Well,
time.
don't have enough
It's-
time.
It's
Next
not gonna have a
meeting
meeting
will
till
be
after that. So.
Hmm.
And these were presented pretty fast, you know.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I'll make a motion that we let both clubs do it this one time because of the fire index, and if the fire index is low enough, and the fire chief says okay, we can do it.
Okay. We have a motion, do we have a second?
The only concern is the neighbors. If the neighbors are gonna complain,
Okay, let's see if we get a second here. Do we have a motion, do we have a second?
Well, second.
Okay, we have a second? Okay, now Don, go ahead.
Yeah.
are the neighbors gonna complain over this, and what kind of static are we gonna get over it?
I don't know.
But like I
That's a
said,
good question, I don't know.
Well, we'll divert everything over to there.
I'm staying out of it.
I know, I'm just teasing you again.
Any other discussion?
I would say we could, you know, maybe put some kind of a time limit on it, you know, just so it doesn't go till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
What kind of time limit you thinking?
An hour after dark?
Again, without,
Or something like
you know,
that.
more information would be nice.
Well, I don't
You know.
think you say an hour after dark, I think you need enough time, you know, because like River Riders have a time, 10 to 10:30.
Well, we
Yep,
can do
they
the
want to
same
do
thing.
theirs on, like the band's first break is when they were looking at shooting them off. And I think it's at 8 or one of their breaks, so they were thinking right around 10:30 when they stop to take a break is then when they would light them off.
Could we ask Buddy to do his at the same time in the same place on the 11th?
You can ask whatever you want.
Right, you know,
Yeah, sure, they could be done by 11. He'll start them, I'm sure, when
Yeah.
it's darker earlier, so you don't have to
Right.
wait until
Yeah.
10:30 to start them.
You're gonna amend your
Look
motion for
at,
that?
you know, typically a half hour after sunset. It's pretty dark, so if you figured at that point, whatever time you need, a half hour, you know.
How about just 10 to 11?
yeah, we can do that. I amend my motion from 10 to 11.
Okay,
I'll second that.
he would have to second, because you have seconded the first one.
So you're allowing fireworks to be shot off between, I mean, they could be shot down earlier too, I guess if you want to do that.
Yeah, we can do that too.
But just not to exceed 11 o'clock at night.
That works.
Is that a fair statement?
So basically, it could be any time from, like, say, 6 to 11.
From 1 o'clock in the morning till 6 at night, or,
Yeah, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you second his amendment?
From 10 to 11, I'll second that.
Okay. Any other discussion? And this includes the fire index. It was in your
Yes,
question.
yes,
And the fire
fire
chief.
index and,
Okay,
fire chief, yeah.
okay,
So that time is 10 PM to 11 PM?
Yeah,
right.
1 hour, okay.
1 hour.
Any other discussion? Ready to vote? Colin?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
I'm gonna vote no. Motion carried.
I'm negative, too.
And
Okay,
that's
so
on
just
both
quick,
of
it can
them.
only, from both of them, it can only be within that 1 hour time frame.
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
And it's only those 2 people?
only them 2 people. They're the only ones permits.
Because I'm just wondering if other people are gonna see that and wanna light off their fireworks that day too.
Then there's a $75 fine.
And it's only that one day, right? September 11th?
No,
One's September 4th and one is
Okay,
September
so
11th.
separate days.
They're 2 separate ones, 2 separate days.
correct. If you wanna see this, you can see this meeting here. Okay. Okay, the American Rescue Plan, Chelsea.
They're calling it the American Rescue Plan Act now. It's in changing from the CARES Act to this. We have to decide if we are going to take this money or not. It's going to be in 2 installments. The 2021 allocation amount and the 2022 allocation amount. But we have got to let them know. They can be used for various things. We do not have to set anything in mind as to what we're going to head and use it right now. But all the funds will have to be used until December 31st, 2024 to allocate the funds and until December 31st, 2026 to have expended all those funds. So we have time to figure out what we're going to use it for.
And we're looking at almost $200,000.
Correct.
Yeah. And aren't we kind of on the beta plan of this?
Yes.
You know, they're not doing it for everybody right away.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the beta plan.
And they're going to move on to other cities here shortly, so we have got to let them know if we're
Well, I would say, yeah.
going to accept this or not.
Well, is there any?
Why would you want to take it?
Any negative things that we have to, do? You know, there are certain things we can use it for and certain things we can't. I mean, but is there any other strings attached? You didn't see anything?
Mm-mm, nothing, I mean, it's got to be very detailed and
And we have to
tracked
report?
what we're
We have-
using it for,
right,
yes.
okay.
Yep. And there's different things that, I mean, they're all in, with that information too that I had sent all out to you
Mhm.
guys.
Looks like we got money to tear a building down.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
And we can
over the
determine what, you know, if we have anything come up in the next couple of years to be able
Right.
to allocate it, we just have to be able to say that we're going to receive it.
And I'm sure we got plenty of stuff we could.
Oh, that's-
Yeah.
Use it for, man, yeah. So when does this have to be in, do you know?
They want ours in now,
Yeah.
if we can, because otherwise they're gonna start going to the other cities.
Right, well, yeah, I think, yeah, so, do you need help filling it out, or do you have it, or?
I should have everything that's on this to fill out, because I got all the budget information, I know all our EIN and stuff. The only number I don't know that we have, or cities have, is a DUNS account, no,
In Bradstreet?
the DUNS number. Does the city have one of those?
I don't know what that is.
DUN number,
Yeah.
that you can, there's a website you can go and look on, see if you have a number or not.
Oh, okay.
I just don't have that in any of my files, that it's where I have all our stuff saved, so.
Okay.
Other than that, it's pretty
That's
simple.
not taxable or anything, is it? It's just,
It's like the CARES Act, except for it's going to this American Rescue Plan Act, so.
okay. Scoop it in.
I don't know, Eric might have more information on that too, or more insight into it.
From what I know, for the direct allocation amounts, what you're talking about, you gotta just fill out the certification for cities form, and that's what you've been talking about.
Yep.
And then you got the assurances of compliance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, mentioned this before, that's one of the things you gotta sign. And then there's a terms and conditions agreement that you gotta sign, and I haven't seen what that looks like, but that would be something you'd have to go through and sign.
Okay.
And then there's like a direct deposit form.
Yeah.
So it's really, I would definitely recommend that you guys fill it out.
Right.
It's a good deal. So,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about taxes or anything like that, but, yeah, it seems like it's definitely something you guys would want to do.
Well, I don't know why we'd have to pay taxes on it.
Well, I'm not sure.
From what I read, it didn't appear that way.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
think so.
Just
You know.
question.
Yeah, I would hope not, but,
Free money, take it.
Well, yeah, I just know there's a couple things that I've been wanting to get done, so.
okay, yeah, so,
Maybe we can request another raise for us.
You can't use it for that.
I have more to add too, if you guys wanted to talk more about that. Unless you wanna wait
if you
till
have
next
something
month.
to.
I do, and I meant to.
Let's
put
come on
this-
up then. So,
I meant to put this on my update too.
You're next on the agenda anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I got this little handout from Abby, she's one of our finance people. It's basically some information on the American Rescue Plan grant programs. There's a whole slew of grants, programs that are gonna be going out with this thing. And one of them that's very applicable to Washburn is, they have programs set aside for coal communities, and Washburn is most definitely a coal community. And one of them that I think would apply to Washburn is the Economic Adjustment Assistance. It's a $500 million program. Eligible applicants, they have economic development districts, political subdivisions, which would be like the city. So the city would be eligible. Eligible uses, a wide range of technical planning, workforce development, entrepreneurship, public works, and infrastructure projects, so pretty much anything. And the available funding, like I said, is $500 million. The local match is 20% of the grant that you'd be awarded. But rolling application window, talking about deadline. So a suggested submission date is March 15th of 2022. I'm just going to keep in touch with Abby on this one, and I'll let you guys know, because that could be a really good one for the city to go after with this
Yeah,
American Rescue Plan. So.
that's good. Do they have a limit on that of how much?
I didn't see a limit. So, the total program is 500 million. I would guess they're probably not gonna award you like something crazy huge, but I mean, if you have a good project and a good application, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't be able to get awarded.
There's gonna be, I'm
Good
sure,
amount of
tons of
money.
applications for it, so.
Probably, and there's a ton of coal communities out there, obviously,
Right.
but, I think we could make a good case for Washburn and
Yeah.
do an application for that, so.
Okay, good.
Um,
Anything else on the rescue plan?
Hmm?
Anything else on the rescue plan, anybody? Okay,
Do we need a motion to accept it?
we could.
I make a motion to accept the, what is it called again?
American Rescue Plan Act.
American Rescue Plan.
It's the direct allocations, is part of it.
Right.
Second?
Okay, Colin?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yeah. You make life interesting.
I'm in a feisty mood tonight.
Okay.
All right, so the other thing I got for you guys finally was the drainage improvements study and report. We looked at a couple options, and two of them were diverting the drainage to the east or west. We're talking about the northeast part of town, Heritage Heights, where we have all the water that comes in from the north rural area through that field, the 225-acre drainage basin that comes through that one culvert and through that subdivision. So we're looking at ways we can improve that drainage area and not have as much overland flooding like we do every spring when the snow melts and whenever we have a big rain. You know, so quite a bit of information is in the report, but like I said, essentially we looked at diverting the water to the east, diverting the water to the west. Both of those options were not feasible just by the sheer amount of grading work they would have to do to get those to work. Trying to divert the water to the east would be, you'd be looking at over a 10-foot cut. It's a three-quarters of a mile to get it there. Diverting to the west, there was anywhere from a 3-foot to a 6-foot cut the whole way. The profiles that are in there that you're looking at, while you're looking at one of them, Larry, they didn't show any fall, so it would be something worse than that for the grading. So it just was not feasible. So Larry and I were talking a little bit before the meeting too. The improved drainage area to the south, so improving where the water's going already, would be the most feasible option. Improving the drainage ditch along Rough Rider Drive, and then where the water comes through, crosses Custer on the north end of that subdivision, and then goes to our concrete pipe that we have out in that field that brings the water over to Rough Rider, and then improving the drainage ditch down through there would be the best option to go with. So I laid out a number of improvements that we would make for this. One of the things that Larry brought up to me, like I said, we were talking before the meeting, was possibly bringing the water, instead of channeling it through where it's going already, is bringing it to that triangle area in the ditch where, was it 8th Street and Rough Rider come together, and the curve is there. I don't have the profile with me, but I know we looked at that and we have it. I didn't look at that option in the report because I determined that it was not really feasible to do that either, but I can show you that information, Larry, so you can see that. And we can go look at it after the meeting too, but there's a lot of uphill to get up and around that corner and then back down. And then once you come around the corner and start heading south on Rough Rider, it drops off fairly quickly until you get to where that 24-inch pipe comes into the ditch, and then it kind of flattens out again.
Right.
So that would be a lot tougher to make that work, but it's something if we wanted to look into, we could. The other thing that I'll say, I'll add, that I didn't really talk about much in the report is, we looked at doing a street project up there in the past and putting in storm sewer. That is still a recommended option that I would have on the table if the city would want to do something like that. If they wanted to get some street improvements done at the same time, these improvements would just kind of take care of the drainage, kind of all the water that we have to deal with when we have the big rains and the spring melt. So that was the goal on this one, was just to stick with that, because you guys are partnering with the water board, McLean County Water Board, to get this.
You said you wanted to improve this ditch here.
Yeah.
Would you put tiles on the bottom of that ditch to improve it, or just leave it the way it is?
I would not put tiles on the bottom of it.
How come?
Well, I mean, we could if you want.
No, I mean, but why wouldn't you?
When I say improving, I'm talking about just making the drainage happen easier. So your grades, you'll have enough fall on your pipe. There's one pipe in there that's backwards. Water's trying to come down the hill, and it's tilted according to our surveys with GPS. It's tilted the wrong direction, so that most certainly would hold water up.
Which one's that?
That's the first driveway that's north of the Woodgate Drive.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's they have an asphalt driveway.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
a 50-foot wide driveway. There's like a 50-foot long pipe,
Right.
but it's tilted. It's trying to drain the water up the hill. So
Yeah.
obviously that would hold some water back a little bit,
Yeah.
And then up, as you go north from there, it's pretty flat.
Right.
So you can imagine that ditch fills up if it's flat up ahead of it, and
Right.
now it's tilted the wrong way. So
What about going underneath the hill to get the drainage?
going underneath the hill.
Over here by this triangle, instead of trying to go uphill.
Well, that's what we're gonna look at.
Yeah, we can look at that. And
Question, okay, where that intake comes out, because I'm worried that if we cut that ditch super deep, that it'll be dangerous if somebody, runs off the road there. Can we put a pipe underneath there, then keep that ditch as the extra afterwards?
Underneath where exactly?
This Rough Rider Road here,
Yeah.
that's where it's not very deep right now. If we could go in where that intake is and hook into there and bring that down by the cabin there where that culvert is,
Yeah.
and then put the dirt back over so we don't have a great big drop off, because there's not a whole lot of room in there.
I wouldn't recommend putting a pipe down the ditch. You're gonna get a lot of expense added to it for not as much benefit.
We're talking about piping the whole way.
Yeah.
Well, just that line that we already got over there.
If you're gonna do that, I would
Extend that down.
I would say put storm sewer in the street, so that the street will benefit from getting water drained off of it,
Right.
and your asphalt will last longer. I would put it in like I was saying when I first started earlier tonight. I would say you would want to put storm sewer down like Custer Drive, like I've proposed before. That would be better use of your resources. I would recommend, but.
What's the cost difference?
Between putting storm sewer down Custer Drive and doing what I'm proposing right now. Well, I don't have that number right off the top of my head, but it's going to be quite a bit more.
Is it?
Yeah. Because if you're going to put storm sewer in, you're looking at anywhere from 120 to 150 bucks a foot for storm sewer pipe, and now you got to have inlets as well, and
How
those
deep
costs-
would you go with the storm sewer then?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that off the top of my head, but it would be, deep enough to get the water drained. And it all depends on, how far back we're going, Because you gotta have fall in the pipe, and you can only go as low as your lowest downstream outlet. And that's by the captain's cabin there, where that 30-incher crosses to the highway, and then it crosses 83 to the south side, or east side.
How big a retention pond do we need?
So that's something that we would cover in preliminary design,
Okay.
sizing the pond. And on my cost estimate, I have a little disclaimer that, during the design process, we would have the water resources group look at this so that we would ensure that the assumptions that I made on the pipe size are correct, and they would help out on sizing that pond. But, I have something drawn in there, but it would need to catch the water that's draining from the north across that field, and prevent all the overland flow that we have going. So we would have to size it for your 5, 10, 25, 50-year storms, so that we know that we can handle it. The other thing is that pipe that's going to affect the size of this detention pond. That pipe's not really that sloped that much. It's fairly flat. And it's only a 24-inch pipe. So remember that you can fill up a basin as much as you can, but your exit capacity is only going to be as good as the pipe that you have in there. So that's something that we would have to look into in more detail during the design phase.
So what would be the makeup of the retention pond then? Just strictly dirt and then? And then
Speed pond.
just a regular pond?
Yep. and you'd have the inlet that you have there, that would be kind of like your, you know, that would be your not your overflow, but that would be your exit. So, in that one, if it's determined that it could be used, we would try to use it. If not, we would put a new inlet in.
You know, something to consider here too is, you know, where this retention pond would be, you know, if Washburn would tend to grow, that would probably be the likely spot where it would grow.
Right.
So do we want a big retention pond there?
Well, I was thinking
know,
a ditch the way it is now and come over and go into that deal. Because if you build a big enough ditch, that's like a retention pond.
And you know,
But
and that's
once again,
yeah, and then
that's-
Yeah.
that's one of the questions that I asked when we were looking at the
Well, this is where that
street projects.
intake is.
mhm.
So I was thinking of cut a V in here, and that long V would be X amount of water that would retain.
It's going to retain water, or is it going to
Well, yeah,
flow
we-
down?
If you put a V in here, just like it comes across the road now,
Mm-hmm.
if you make it wide enough and have a little bit of height here, that'll make a long pond.
That drops quite a bit from there to there.
Because right now it drains to there.
Yeah, it drains.
It drains
there
here.
now, so,
Right, but what I'm saying, instead of putting a square pond so deep, since we can't go that deep anyway, just widen it out like a ditch of.
Why can't you go deep on the pond?
You're into the inlets, you're never going to drain the pond all the way.
Do you want to drain the pond a little
Yes.
bit?
But don't want stagnant
Here's
water.
my opinion, we don't want any pond. You got
Right.
stagnant water sitting, you
Yep.
got a mosquito breeding ground, we
That's-
don't want water.
That's why I was thinking a ditch or something that'll drain completely off, we can mow off and be done with it.
Kids.
but like I said, that will affect, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
That will affect if, you know, if they ever want to, you know, further develop up in that area, that's going to affect that whole area.
Right, that's why I was wondering how we
But
could do
even a
that.
ditch would mess that up too.
But that could be, after the ditch, if you want to develop it, you can always put a pipe in.
And when we were looking at the street projects, we had a couple of options to finish off those 2 blocks on Heritage
Mhm.
Heights
Yeah.
and put in the storm, the water and the sewer. That was one of the part of the street project that we had proposed. And one of those options, I know I had a drainage ditch along what is this road? Sibley?
Yeah.
So I had a drainage ditch running along here, and then it catching into storm sewer here, and then Custer Drive bringing it over to. So, you know, if that's where development, you guys think development's going to go. I know, Larry, when we talked before, what's this over here? This building here?
This is the church.
The church. So right over here, we talked about this is where potentially by the church would be development.
Possibly,
So-
yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's hard to say.
But you know, if you guys think development would happen in that area where where I'm showing the retention pond,
Right.
you know, we could design this to account for that future development. If that's something you guys think that's going to happen.
Because I was wondering if we decide to do this before we do the street, we could go up to here and put a drain here underneath that asphalt before we do anything, then we can always do something else with this if this don't take care
Well,
of it.
right, and
That's
what
what I was thinking.
what I had proposed in that street project was, if you put in storm sewer, I would have this connect to storm sewer on Custer, and I know that I've shown this to you
Yeah.
guys before, but this existing pipe, I'd start storm sewer here and run that down Custer, bring it over, and then bring it down Rough Rider.
And bypass that retention pond.
But make this big enough so if we wanted to at some time, bring this
Well, yeah,
down
right,
here
it would
and
it would
go
have
into
to,
here.
that
Yeah.
storm sewer would have to handle whatever flow is coming from right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so that we get it done before we fix this road, is what I'm worried about.
Well, are you gonna fix that road?
Well,
soon?
that's in that project, to overlay, right?
No, we are
Well-
going to, this fall, winter, whatever, we're going to try and figure out so we can give people an estimate of what it's gonna cost.
Right.
And then they will have, at least, because that's always been the big thing, we wanna
Yep.
know what it's gonna cost. And then we present it to them and then go from there.
Right, but I want that part figured in before we do that.
And we can absolutely do that, because I know that I've had the storm sewer estimate in one of those options for that street improvement project.
You did.
So,
Yeah.
we've looked at that before. Now, the storm sewer, putting storm sewer on Custer and bringing it over to Rough Rider and then down there would be, that is something we looked at, and it would be a good option if that's something the city wanted to do.
Is there a lot of drainage coming through that area?
Well,
A lot of
yeah.
rain.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
When,
That road is usually flooded pretty good.
when you, here, I'll show you, I'll give you like the drainage map here.
That's Appendix B, I think. That was the drainage, that one there, yeah.
Everything comes through this little tiny culvert here. All this water, when the snow melts, comes right through here, here.
And with that culvert plugged, it was all going down the street. All of it.
Well, and that's
It did that even before. it was put
Right,
in.
right, yeah, but I mean, that's what was going on.
that area,
All this drains into.
that area is 225 acres.
So it all drains from,
Right through this, right through here.
Yep.
Then
And if
goes
it-
into here, then floods all this out, floods all this, and floods all the way down to the captain's cabin.
Yep. And if the culvert can't keep up with it, it goes over the gravel road.
And have you seen it go over the
Oh,
gravel
yeah.
road before? You have.
I think
Yep,
it
yep.
does.
Is that, is that,
Oh, yeah.
is it during the spring melt
Usually
when that
it's
happens?
spring.
It'd be a
So,
spring melt, yeah.
Would you say it happens every spring melt?
No,
No.
no.
Every 5 years?
Every 5 years, yeah.
why couldn't we just put a
Because it takes,
ditch in over there
it all
then?
depends on how much
Where?
snow comes in there,
In
because
this area,
usually it
to
all builds
convert it
up
down
on the other side of the
someplace
road,
else.
then the culvert opens up.
Because this is the low spot.
But if
That's
it gets
the
warm
lowest-
enough,
this is
then
the
it
low
just
spot.
goes over the road. That's
Yeah.
why there's a V ditch in there,
Yeah.
across the deal.
Yeah.
That's why there's that V in there, from that ditch that goes between the trailers.
Well, so they can mow it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the channel the water through.
Well, yeah, that's where the water goes,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It was poorly designed when it was put in.
Yeah, well, just like our base for the asphalt roads, right? You got that report back?
Yeah, I sent that to you guys.
Yep.
Last
And that's
weekend.
2 inches of gravel underneath
It
that.
seems very common in the Senex area. The Senex, what's the name of that subdivision? The one up,
Sundown?
yeah, that one over there,
Mhm.
Jennifer Drive and all those
Sundown,
ones.
yeah.
Sundown, and then in this one too, they had put a very small or no base, but then a thicker section of asphalt is what they did. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
So,
They were put up fast
yeah.
Mhm.
and cheap.
Yeah,
Because it's easy to lay a bunch of asphalt on the ground. You can do that quickly, but it's
Mhm.
a lot harder to establish your subgrade and put a base down
yeah.
and get compaction.
So,
Right.
but anyway, this has, we're going to present this to McLean County yet
Mhm.
and everything. I mean, we're not making a decision on this by any means tonight.
And if you want me to, I can, update the cost estimates to do that street project, including the storm sewer. I know we have that. I think we talked about that either last year or the year before again, but we've been talking about that for a good, at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
So-
and we're to the point where, we need to do something, but we got to get figures for people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the goal for this, fall, winter,
Yep.
and go from there. Plus, I don't know if I don't think you'd get anything done right now anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
With
we
oil
can,
prices and
yeah,
everything,
for
I
as
mean-
far as, construction, for sure, not this year, but,
No.
but I can get costs to you guys, and you could still, look at deciding on a project, and we could, go out and you advertise and do bids. You
Mhm.
could do that can happen at any point in time, but as far as building something, that's not gonna be.
Well, right, yeah.
next year.
Next year, the grant, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to give people the, at least an idea of what it might cost. I think that's super important. That's always been the biggest bitch,
Mhm.
every project.
Yep.
So,
I just don't wanna do it wrong in the wrong order.
well, the nice part about this is we don't have to do a lot of water and
Exactly.
sewer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be a little bit of drainage and stuff like that, or
Right.
maybe a few repairs in the sewer lines, whatever, but it's not gonna be huge, like,
Yeah.
replacing
So we
it
can
all.
add on later on, and we're good.
so,
Okay. Any other questions?
So, you You brought two of these, is one of these for Shannon then, or is it?
Yeah, you guys can have them both. They're for you.
Okay.
If you want me to run more copies, I could. If you want me to, Larry. I only brought the 2 paper copies.
Well, we need to give one to, McLean County.
Okay. Yep. You can give.
I mean, I can give one of
them
these,
and
I can give
you-
one of these, I can meet up with Shannon, or just throw me that one down. And then, we'll probably need it, well, then I'll just bring mine back to the city, or just let the city have mine, so,
Yeah.
leave it here, so, okay. What else
We
you
have
got?
that whole report, so.
Huh?
We have that whole report, we can print it off. Is that the one you emailed me? Or is
Yeah,
that one
This is
different?
a
Yeah.
nice, this is a nice folder.
Yeah, and it's got
And how much does that cost?
Yeah.
There's always a price tag.
$150.
That's fine.
Well, if you guys want me to print more for you.
This is,
I can-
this is in that $7,500 that the county's paying for.
Really?
We're not
I
paying
can
for
make
this.
you. I can print you more if you want.
We're not paying for this. This is, the county's paying for this. Remember, they're paying for the
McLean County
study.
is paying the city for it. Yep.
Yeah, so,
You got a deal, Doc.
Oh, boy. Yeah, don't rock the boat.
Don't worry, I won't.
don't tip it over.
Um,
Any other- oh, go ahead.
I had mentioned Abby earlier, and she's helping me out with the FEMA stuff. So there is a lot of money out there right now with FEMA. They got allocated a ton of funding. You know, we talked about the American Rescue Plan already.
Right.
But FEMA also has more money to their different grant programs. So we're gonna look at that again too. There's been a lot of talk and chatter that I've been hearing. I don't know how much you guys have been hearing about a lot of economic development initiatives around coal producing areas. And one of those reasons is that we got to find stuff for the economy if coal does continue to go where it's going. So the city wants to be prepared to be able to provide water if they need to new customers. So that's something we're tracking that and looking into it, and there could be a lot more interest out there and a lot more funding available for an intake project in the near future. So we just want to stay ahead of that as best we can and have the city ready for building that intake. So I'll have more for you guys as we go here, but I know you guys.
This might be a good year to maybe start on the project, because I had heard this morning that the Corps is gonna drop the river in September quite a ways down, because
Yeah.
they're running short of water, so,
I heard a report, and it's not on my update, but I had heard a report that they had gotten like 17% of their projected runoff.
Wow.
In the Missouri River Basin. So obviously, when you're at 17%, that's not really refilling your reservoirs. So I would expect, I haven't looked at the 90-day, 30, 60, 90-day plan for the Corps, but I would expect that this fall is going to be a low river again.
very, very low.
Have you heard anything on that, Adam? No?
So the Corps' website will always have that projection, and I'll have to take a look at that, and if I see anything, I'll pass it on to you guys. But, yes, again, we'll be finding another good reason why we should be building that intake. And I think there's going to be other reasons too. I think there's going to be customers and other economic development initiatives that are going to be going on in this region that the city will want to be ready to be able to provide water for those things.
How much is the whole project cost? I don't remember.
4 or 5 million? Are you talking about just the intake?
Intake and the new
I think
line.
the intake was like 4 million. I think the whole project with the new line, everything's like 12 million.
The intake project was right around that $4.5 million for the intake project.
Just for the intake.
That's for the intake project. That's not talking about doing like water plant upgrades or anything like that. But right now the city doesn't need to do water plant upgrades. So if there was a customer that would come along in the near future that would need some, then they would have to, help the city or cover the cost for the city for making those improvements.
That would include a new line in the river and everything.
On top of the 4.5 million, that would talk about a new line into the river to bring the water in, a new pump house, and a new line that would bring the water back under the river to the water plant. That's everything. Yep.
Has anybody ever mentioned maybe, the water, rural water in Oliver County might need some water sometime, or anything like that. I know they have rural water over there, but I didn't know if they have, you know, it's like McLean Sheridan, where we sell them water, or if they need to pull water out of.
That comes from Southwest Water,
Right.
OM&D.
But that's the farthest out is this area because it comes out of the lake. I didn't know if they can hold their pressure up or not.
Oh, Southwest Water goes all the way to the corner of the state. They go all the
Right.
way down to, yeah.
But they're pulling out of several places, I think, right?
I believe they have
Main one
they
out
have
of
a
the
couple of
lake.
intakes and a couple of water plants.
Right.
For that, yeah.
But the farther you go out, the harder it is to pump the water.
Well, they have
You got
booster
stations
pumps,
along the
you
way.
know, all
Right,
over the place.
right.
But, yeah.
How much money would we be qualified for FEMA for this water project?
Well, right now, the city already has a $1 million grant from FEMA.
That's not a hell of a lot, though.
Well, I mean, that's a good amount of money. And the State Water Commission has allocated, you know, over
I think it's
over
2.3.
like $2.3 million. So right now the city has, you know, $3.4 million for this intake project. So we'd be looking for another, you know, at least another $1 million or so. And if there's another investor that might want to come in that is interested in water, that would be good for the city to get money from them as well.
Yeah, but
So-
you said the whole project's gonna cost like over 10 million.
Yeah, that's for all the pipelines that going out to Blue Flint and all that.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, and
But we don't cover
that's
any of
not
that.
something
Right,
the
we
city
won't
pays
cover that.
for.
I'm just talking about the intake on the
Okay,
river.
okay,
Yeah.
just, okay.
Yep,
So,
yep.
And that's about 5 million?
I would say that'd be a good estimate right now, yes. Between 4.5 and 5. It just depends on how many people want water. You know, the city wants to be, it'd be in the city's best interest to have an intake that's going to be able to provide water for other users that might want it.
Can we float a loan on the money that we don't have?
rather not. We have plenty of
Yeah.
debt right now. Plus, we have a couple of projects we got, need to be doing. Like, we don't need to be going into debt on that again. And we're not even done paying for the water plant yet, right? So, yeah.
I just don't wanna see us getting cut short here.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, the intake for the water going to the east, out down here, that's just raw water, right?
For now.
Okay. Well, I thought that was the whole idea, that they can only send raw water to the east to send into Canada. They can't have treated water going to the east, I heard, but.
Well, they have a clarification, system out there to, take out some of the solids,
Yeah,
sand
yeah,
and stuff,
but-
I mean. But yeah, they're not gonna fully treat it and send it that far, no.
Correct.
But that's gonna be one of two spots. The other spot for that is coming out of the canal. They're gonna have actually two intakes, one here, one out of the canal.
Where
This
out
might
of
never
the
get
canal?
used. You don't know, huh?
Where out of the canal?
I'm not sure the exact spot. But, this isn't gonna be pumping all the time to the east. It's gonna be when they need it, if they need it. And it's gonna be 10 years before it's done.
Yeah, they just started the first section of pipeline here just the other week, so that project's a ways away from being completed.
There was talk of possibly, when they get the intake done, having a separate little pump house just for Washburn, but we'd have to put in like 6 miles of pipe to get it here. I mean, who's gonna pay for that, And then you got all that maintenance on there and everything else.
Would have been nice if they would have hooked in with us as an intake to go east.
I think their spot that they have for an intake's a lot
Better?
better, yeah.
A lot better.
Okay.
Probably not the best, but it's better.
Till the river changes. There. Anyway.
Okay, we need to move on.
I don't have anything else, unless you have questions for me.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Colin?
Only thing I got is the light pole across the street from Weber's has been fixed.
Yay.
They sucked out around the pole.
Look good?
She called me and I looked at the concrete and I don't see any issues with it, so.
Good.
They just re-leveled it, tamped it back in and hung the light, so.
Okay, cool, good. That it?
That's all I got.
Mike?
Nothing going on here.
Done?
The only thing that was brought up at my last meeting is that, there's going to possibly be something brought up to the county about windmills in the general area. And that'll be coming up pretty soon, is the way they were talking.
I heard something about that.
Which one? Which company? Apex or Nextel?
The company out here that's buying Cold Creek.
They're possibly looking at investing in some wind power also.
Well, yeah, I got my contracts for wind towers already, had them for 2 years. There's two
Yeah, but that's the
companies.
new company here now.
Yeah.
This is the people that bought the plant. They're looking
Rainbow
at it.
Energy,
They're looking at it.
not Apex.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Anything else?
No, nothing that affects Washburn.
Okay. Everybody see the new census figures?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We have 1,300 people now? Yay, up 54? Yay. Do we have to put notices in the paper for, the preliminary budget hearing and the election?
Yes.
Okay, you've got those figured out when you need to put them in and stuff and,
Yeah, I'm putting the candidates in the paper tomorrow.
okay.
Or I have it all drawn up. That was one of the things I was going to talk about. And then I will get our budget does not have to go in the paper because our preliminary budget is on the estimated taxes that go out to all the residents because we levy over $100,000.
Right.
So ours does not have to go in the paper. But the candidate's name, yes, they do have to be posted in there. So I was going to bring that up as one of the things going in the paper for. And then we'll have to get everything set up for election workers
Okay.
and get that.
And the election is when again, the 20th?
Yeah,
And our budget thing's on the 13th, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, before our regular meeting.
Okay. I think that's all I have. You're up.
Okay. Do you want to, I guess, go along with that, start advertising then for poll workers? Are we, because we're gonna have to bring our own in.
Yes? Should.
Okay. What are we going to pay them?
What's the going rate?
I can ask Beth what they paid.
I would ask that.
Just go along kind of in line with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Do you have somebody in mind, Erin, or?
No, I don't know,
I'm thinking Lane, or maybe,
because we're just gonna do paper and pencil, correct? But I'm gonna double check with the state and then with Beth if we can use their poll books.
okay. I would assume pencil and paper would be fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's legal to do it that way, I'd say it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just have to decide if we want to have it printed out for the poll book or if the county will allow us to use their poll books.
It'd be nice if they did.
So I can talk to Beth about that too.
Okay.
I just wanted to get through the budget for them and us.
Right, okay. Anything else?
Get that squared away. The only other question, the alleyway back there when the grader was back there, has
Oh,
that
yeah.
been looked at, fixed, taken care of anymore?
Yeah, I'll have to
Anything
go
down with
back there
that?
and look at it, have it,
Okay.
yeah, write that down. I'll look at it tomorrow.
Otherwise, that's all I had.
We found the English versions of the wiring diagrams for the new hub. Finally, thanks to some internet help. I took copies of them down to Interstate Power Systems today. They said it looked good, but they were gonna go over them again, make sure. And I think they'll probably, I think they told me the part was about $2,000. I'm assuming we wanna repair that vehicle, I mean, at least try.
I don't think we have a lot of choice.
Yeah, so, but they'll get back to me.
Okay. they'll get back to you with a closer estimate too, then? Well, I mean, if it's like 10 grand, I think we need to consider something, but, you know, yeah. I'll just let us know what it's gonna be. Anything else?
Oh, I did remember, the mower we took to Eggers. I think they kinda dropped the ball and forgot about it, but
Which motor?
for the water plant. I did
For the
check.
mixer.
Yep, for the mixer.
For,
Oh,
They had a tore part. Yeah, he said it'd be a couple weeks, which is fine.
Okay.
We're not using it anyway.
No, like $500 and some odd dollars for the motor, so.
Okay. All right.
So,
I guess along with that, the aerator's fixed.
Aerator's fixed?
Yes.
oh, that's
Mhm.
okay.
Aerator's working?
Well, they got it down there today, we haven't put it back in.
Okay, good. That it? Rhonda? Nothing?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Was it ad in the paper yet?
Nope. Still waiting for info from the man here, so,
Right dumping area.
yeah.
As soon as I get that info, you'll get the ad.
I'll let you know. I told you I'd let you know. Okay, if there's nothing else, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.